The FBI's eagerness to discredit the victim witnesses may be based on more than just an institutional commitment to protect former Omaha FBI Chief Nick O'Hara's friend Chief Wadman or Assistant U.S. Attorney Thalken or higher-ups in Washington. A look at life inside the Bureau includes its Omaha branch, shows why. In August 1990, black FBI agent Donald Rochon settled his suit against the FBI for racial discrimination. A highly decorated veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, Rochon joined the FBI in the early 1980s. According to the settlement, Rochon, who worked in the Omaha FBI office in 1983 and 84, will receive more than $1 million over his lifetime and have his $500,000 in legal expenses paid. In his suit, Rochon charged Omaha FBI personnel with sexual perversion. That's from the Franklin cover-up. Child Abuse, Satanism, and Murder in Nebraska by John W. DeCamp. A very sordid and twisted story indeed. Hello and welcome to another edition of The Stench of Truth. I'm going to talk about something that hits home for me because it has recently come to light that the Pennsylvania Department of Homeland Security hired a private consulting firm to categorize terrorist groups, of which they included legitimate freedom of speech groups, anti-tax protesters, and other groups, significantly people who were opposed to the Marcellus Shale natural gas production, which is a big thing here in Pennsylvania right now. But also goes back as far as the G20. So apparently, my friends, we no longer just have to worry about the Patriot Act and the fucking abuses of power that generate from the federal government. Now we have to worry about our own states compiling dossiers on people who have legitimate fucking issues with the government and legitimate free speech, political expression. And this is what we get. And as of today, in my local news, I heard that the head of the Pennsylvania Homeland Security Department is nowhere to be found. No one can find this guy. Of course, Ed Rendell, our governor, who is a big piece of shit himself, refuses to take any action against this blatant and abusive use of the Pennsylvania Department of Homeland Security against legitimate political discourse. And this guy is nowhere to be found for comment. Now, I find it rather interesting as well that the two offices that are listed on the website for this terrorist information center, one is in Philadelphia and one is in Israel. So it seems quite clear that there is a close relationship between this group and Israel. And in case any of you had any doubts or questions about Israel as an ally of the United States, you need to realize one thing very clearly. Israel spies on the United States probably more than any other fucking country in the world, including all of our supposed enemies, most of which I'm sure can't even get agents into our fucking country. But Israelis get in here free and clear. Need I remind you of some of the nefarious activities done by Israelis on 9/11 and shortly thereafter, like the art student spy ring and the dancing Israelis and the photographing of the event, quote unquote, of 9/11. So what the fuck is going on in this country that now even our states are going after legitimate political discourse and freedom of speech And they probably did this during the G20 as well. And if you look at my video on the G20 and see the massive security in place, it makes you wonder, why did they even need to work with a terrorist research center to try and find the holy terrorists that were going to come after the G20 people whenever this entire fucking city was locked down like a fucking concentration camp? I've never seen more police and military in one place in my entire fucking life. So, we now have the states joining in the act of squelching and crushing freedom of speech. And in one little side note, I want to comment upon what happened in the UK with the Pope's visit, which I'm sure is going to be accompanied by a tremendous amount of protests, because I know, well, they'd be very well advised not to go to Ireland. Let's just put it that way. He'd do himself a world of fucking good if he stayed out of Ireland. It's bad enough he's in the UK. Supposedly a terrorist plot involving street cleaners was broken up by the UK police. One wonders what kind of nefarious deeds they had planned for the Pope. Here's a guy who should have 24/7 fucking protests against him. I'd be willing to bet the street cleaner terrorists probably were just planning some kind of political demonstration or something in protest against him and the abuses of the Catholic Church. But I guess we'll have to wait to find out what the official fucking propaganda is. So I'd encourage all of you to please make a note to check with your state's Department of Homeland Security to find out just who they're paying for information they're using to compile lists of suspected extremists and terrorists. And maybe you want to find out, like I do, if I'm on some kind of state watch list, because I was at the G20 and because I bullhorned the Pittsburgh office of the Federal Reserve. I wouldn't be surprised. You may find out that you're a dangerous, extremist fucking terrorist on a list with your state. This is what this country has come to, and this is the direction that we continue to go. We have to do everything we can to preserve the rights that we have and regain those that have been lost. Please stay focused on this. It's vitally important. Thank you. Good night.